Hey guys, it's Maymay and welcome back to another video. And today we are making two cards together using our newest stamp set called He's Alive for Easter. I love this stamp set and I think you'll enjoy it too. These two cards are super fun to make and actually easy. This guy right here is not super hard to do and I can't wait to show you. So let's get started. So I've got myself a piece of kind of khaki or tan gingham paper. Let me show you where it comes from so you'll know. It comes from the Christmas one. This is the Christmas Dots and Stripes. Christmas gingham, rather, I should say, Christmas gingham. And I love that tan page in there, so we're going to use it. I've taken the two palm leaves from the set. That's this one, and two green colors, Shady Lane and Rainforest. And I'm going to start with Shady Lane, and I think I'm going to do it with my smaller. Let's start with the bigger one so I know where I'm going. My plan is to kind of do a border around the page, kind of on and off the page. That's why I have my little ink catcher here. So I kind of want to just let these land around the page where they do. So there, and I'm just going to move it and even I don't care if they are tops and bottoms. I just want a palm frame going around the whole piece. So that begins the palm frame. I'm going to clean some of this ink off. I don't want to get it all over me. And then I'm going to use the lighter color. Let's cover that one up. I'm going to use the smaller one and the lighter ink. And I'm going to come in and just fill in and stamp over. And again, I don't mind if this is broken. I'm not looking for perfection. I just want some pretty palms here and there. So there's the first part of my background. I love how that looks. Now I'm going to use the stamp with Jesus on it. And I think I'm going to do it in that dark green as well. I was thinking about doing it in black. I don't know. Let's do it in black. Then I can have more colors on the card. This is a flat card, by the way. I'm not even going to have any dimension on it. It's just going to be stamping. Turn this way so you can see what I'm doing, and I can get kind of straight here. I want this to go toward the top. Take your time, especially when you're working with a card that you've already done the background on. You really don't want to make a mistake here. So don't just stamp and lift. I tell people this in our store when I'm teaching them how to stamp. Take your time, let the ink transfer, and work your fingers around so that it will. Oh, so pretty there. Okay. And then this is where I'll go back to my colors. So let's use the dark ink, and I'm going to do He Is Risen. Bring this to me just a little bit so I can get kind of straight here. I'm going to use this lighter green for the banner. Now back to the black ink, and I'm going to do just as he said inside of our banner. So pretty. I'm going to hold that up so you guys can see that. Isn't that beautiful? And it's just inking. Now I'm not done. I want to do one other thing to kind of tie everything together. I'm going to bring this guy back over, and I'm going to do some distress inking with my favorite. I want to distress ink with some vintage photo around the edge to kind of tie it together. Look how beautiful that is. I love doing the inking around the edges because it really makes the center kind of highlight. I think that's beautiful. Okay, now what I want to do is make a card base. So I have one that was pre-folded already from doing an as many as video. So we're going to use this one. Let me make sure this is clean because I want to ink this card base as well, but I don't want to pick up what was underneath here. All right, so back to my distress ink. And then this will sit here. Look how pretty that ties that together. Isn't that nice? I think I am going to pop this piece up on some foam. But before I do that, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm going to open this up and go ahead and stamp my sentiment on the inside because I want to use the scripture on the inside. So back to my black ink, and I'm going to put the scripture on the inside as my sentiment. It's so hard for me to get it straight without getting my head over. So if it's a little crooked, I apologize. Oh, that didn't turn out bad. Not bad at all. Okay, so then I can put this here, close this little guy up, and put our card front on. We're going to mount this onto the card base, just like so. I love how that one turned out. Isn't that beautiful? I just love it. I hope you guys love it as much as I do. Then on the inside, you see we have the scripture. So pretty. So there's one. So for my tomb card, I'm going to take you with me start to finish. I've chosen this charcoal plaid and then two pieces, and they're actually going to be using these pieces here. Two pieces of the gingham. This is from the Christmas gingham, and this is from the spring gingham. So, or maybe summer. That might be summer gingham because it's the brighter yellow. Let me show you what we're going to do first. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut myself a piece of both of these pieces that are 2.5 inches wide. There's 2.5 inches there. And then I'm going to make them 5.25 long. And because this is 2.5, I need to cut this one the difference because I want this to be 4 inches. So this one needs to be cut 1.5 inches by 5 1/4. We're doing a landscape card. So this is the front portion. I'll show you what I mean. When I lay these guys together, they should equal 4 inches. See there? Want to make sure they did. So this is the ground I'm going to be using, and this is going to be the sun rays. Let me show you how. So on one of these guys, I'm going to lay it down on my cutting mat, and I'm not going to worry about the center there. I'm going to use my ruler to get the center. So my Tim Holtz ruler has the 0 in the center right here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the center of my page simply by making sure that I have the same measurement on each side. That finds me the center. Let me scoot it up there to the edge a little bit. Okay, that's my center, so I'm going to make a mark right here so I know where the center is. Now I'm going to turn this guy around. This is where you get to decide what you want to do. I'm going to do these 1 inch apart. So I'm putting my center mark right here, okay? And what I'm going to do is using my ruler, I'm going to go from my center and I'm going to start right here, which this is the middle, but this will be 1/2 inch out. Okay, so I'm going to line those two numbers up those two spots up using my cutting mat. If you don't have a cutting mat, I'll give you the measurements for this in just a second. Okay, I'm making a pencil mark there. Then keep in the center, I'm going to go out 1 inch. This is so easy to do. So you see this, I'm keeping the middle and I've gone out 1 inch from there. And I'm going to make that mark. Now the same thing, keep in the center and going out 1 inch. You don't have to worry about where it lands on your paper. You just need to make sure you're keeping that 1 inch mark, okay? Now I need to come down 1 inch because I have reached the end of the paper. So I'm going to come down 1 inch, back to that middle. And again, you're not worried about perfection. You just want it to match. And then here, I'm going to go down 1 inch again into the center. And now I need to do the exact same thing on the other side. I want to tell you this too. If you're going to recreate this card at home, do this on the back side of your paper. I'm doing it on the front side. I should have flipped it over, but I'll just erase all these pencil marks when I'm done. But to keep you from having to do that, make sure you make your pencil marks on the back side. Okay, so there's my sun rays, basically, all right? Now, because I want to use two pages to get a better look or to get a cohesive look, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my long scissors. Let me take my protector piece off of them. I'm laying these two pieces on top of each other. And I'm going to cut my first pencil mark. So right on the pencil mark, just cut that down just like so that I get both pieces out of that shape. So you see I have them both there. Okay, now I'm going to move to the next one, line my paper back up every time. If you want to mark your pages individually and cut them separately, you surely can do that. Okay, so here, so you can see what I'm doing. This little guy will then go above that line, like so. But I can get 2 cards out of this because this little guy can go right here. See? So we'll keep going. If you're not comfortable or confident with your scissors, you can totally do this with your trimmer. I would just go ahead and mark each page individually to do that. So that is roughly how they're going to look. Now I'm going to cut myself a piece of cardstock to glue these two. So I went ahead and cut myself another piece of this because I'm going to make 2 cards out of one. So I'm going to set those aside. And these 2 pieces are 4 by 5 1/4. Now I'm going to assemble one with you guys on camera and one off camera. So I'm going to move one set of rays aside. I'm going to use one piece here and we're going to put this guy together. And here's how we're going to do it. I think I'm going to start with my corner pieces. I think they'll be easier to line up. So I'm going to take this guy. I know he's a corner because of that little edge there. I'm going to apply glue to the back of him. Basically, we're just going to put a puzzle together at this point. So starting with my corner piece, and I know it's the corner because it has that little piece there. I'm going to put him down first, and I'm going to do him on both sides. I think I am. I may just place him here and work from here. So if I have any that hangs over, I can trim it. Because look, this is not going to be perfect. There's just no way you'll get all your cuts exactly perfect. So if you want to, you can start with this corner and work your way back. Let's do that. So test every piece so you'll know. So that is my piece that goes there. So I'll add some glue here beside this one and then place that into that glue and slide it to the edge. So there's one ray, and then I need a tan color that goes here, which I believe is this one. I'm going to test it. Yes, it is. I'm going to erase that pencil mark now that I'm doing this. Okay, there's 3 placed. I'm going to continue around. Now, as I told you, it's impossible to get this perfect. So there's these little tiny pieces hanging off the edge. I'm just going to take my long scissors and run right down beside my cardstock and trim them away. It's not even enough to really matter. It's just my eye wanting to trim those off is all that was. You could barely see what came off. So there's that, and now we can glue this piece down. So this piece goes to the end. If it overlaps, that's fine. If your center is not perfect, don't worry, we're going to cover that up anyway. So glue this guy down. So there's our sunrise. Let's work on the tomb. So I'm going to stamp it twice. I need it for 2 cards, and I'm going to use that same beige colored gingham that I used for the background. And I'm inking this up with some Nocturne. This is pigment ink, which works really good on these solid spaces that we have here. So I'm going to do this one like this. Let that ink transfer. There's no reason to rush this. Let all that ink get onto the page where it should be. There we go. Pretty good. I'll take that. It's not a completely solid image, but I'll take it. It's not bad. Let's do another one. If you struggle with that, you might want to use your stamp positioner if it bothers you too awful much. Sometimes as these dry, these pigments kind of settle out and kind of solid, get a little more solid anyway. So I'm going to do this one on this side here. There we go. All right, and now I had something on my stamp. I'm seeing that little dot right there. If that happens to you and it really bothers you, you can just take your little black pen and just touch that up. I probably wouldn't worry about it, but I wanted to show you if that happens. I think I had a piece of fuzz on my little stamp, and that does look better. All right, now what I want to do is I want to take the sentiment from the set that says the grave could not hold him. Let me get that. And I want to stamp this sentiment right inside the stone that is rolled away. So right here, just like that. And then another one. Now I want to cut this out. Now I'm going to cut myself a strip of this piece. Let me cut that circle off, and I'm going to cut myself a strip that is 5 1/4 by about 3/8 of an inch. I don't want too awful much. I just want a little bit. And let me show you how this is going to lay out. So this will be the piece we put our tomb on. Okay. I want to put my tomb here. And I want to lift it up just a little bit. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to cut it so that it has kind of a rough edge and lay the tomb on top of it. Let me show what I mean. Like here, I'm just going to cut this so it's not perfectly straight on the edges. So it'll resemble a little bit of the ground. And then this, I'm going to glue right to it, just like so. So I'm just going to run a little glue along this edge. Place this where it goes. I'm not going to glue it down just yet. Place it where it goes, about right there, and then place the tomb where I want it. And then I'm going to come back here, and where this is a little bit lifted, I think I'm going to trim it even more to look like the ground. So that just comes right up to the edge of that stone, like so, and the same on the other side. Now I'm going to take a Sharpie, and anywhere that I didn't do a good job cutting, I'm going to run it around like this, but I'm also going to get that edge on the parts that don't have the stamp. Because the way we did the stone, we left it open to one side in case you stamped it straight down, and we didn't really want it to look particularly like a rock. But this is super easy to do to kind of get that solid edge. So just running that black around there. Plus it kind of matches the look of the rest of the stone. Here I'm just coming to the top so I can get it. And then this piece that I made the ground, I'm going to do the same thing. The slower you go, the more ink will soak into your page. Now this piece gets glued in place at the horizon line. So I've cut myself a piece here that is 3/4 of an inch tall by 3 inches long. I'm going to go back to my Nocturne ink, and I'm using the sentiment that says he's alive, and that is what is going to go on the side of the card at the front. So I'm going to stamp this a little to the edge, closer to the edge than to the center. Perfect. Okay. Also, I don't know if I mentioned, I used the same color paper I did in that one, the paler gingham. I thought that would look good. Now I'm going to ribbon cut this edge, or fishtail banner it. I'll put this piece here, and I think I'll pop this piece up since I haven't popped anything else up. Just place this guy right here, kind of split in the center of the ground there. And then this needs a card base. Before I glue it down, I decided it needed a little something at the dividing line between the horizon and the ground. And this little piece of baker's twine, I think, does exactly what I need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape it down on the back side. So I just cut myself a piece big enough to do this with. So I'm just going to place it here, wrap it around and tape it on one end. There we go. Then I have glue all over me. It's going everywhere. And then I'm going to bring this around, wrap it around, and tape it here. So since I added that string, I'm going to pop this up on the front of the card too, because the string, if I try to glue it down, will kind of give me a wrinkle. I don't want that. Scotty up here, and that should be plenty. And onto our card base. I love how that one turned out. That's really cool. I love how that tomb looks. We worked really hard to make that not look cartoony. You know, I wanted it to look not real, but not cartoony, and I love how that one turned out. So that's my 2 samples for this stamp set. Let me bring my other card over. I just love how both of these cards turned out. They're both very different, but they're very cool. And again, when you do this one, remember, make 2 at one time and send those to somebody. That's really neat, huh? So there's our first card. He has risen just as he said, and on the inside, our scripture. And you could totally put the scripture in here, or use another set you have that has like Happy Easter or Easter greetings. I know if you're in the club, the scripture club, you've gotten those in the past. So you could mix your sets together too. Thanks so much for watching today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. Talk to you again real soon. Bye-bye.